So, been a little busy around here.
Yeah.
And it's been a little hot.
It was 94 on the way home tonight.
And as always, please remember to go to Facebook and check out Metaluna Boutique and Stones.
It is a tax-free weekend.
Tax-free weekend here in Texas.
Tax-free items.
Sure do.
Not all of them, but I do have some tax-free items.
And next weekend, if you happen to be in the middle of the country, to the left. Slightly to the left. Be sure and go and find Kim and PEN at the Kelly Little Green Men. I'm going to have Marty Brown there on August the 16th, which is a Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, no? Yes, it is Saturday.
Saturday. He's the main act.
Me and Cynthia.
Yeah, and hopefully me. We'll find out.
Hopefully Eric.
Hopefully me.
And maybe Ruth. You don't know.
But just stop by and say hello to us. It's a great festival. Frank and the gang down there. Joanne. And Jesse and the whole gang down there. They're great people. Great people to be involved with.
And while you're there, pick up a copy of Alien Legacy. Autographed by Geraldine Sutton-Stein.
Yeah. But with that being said, our special guest tonight is Miss Selena Roane. She is not only a host here on Prayer Encounters Network on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. with Close to Death. She is also the co-founder of F.E.A.R, that has two meanings, but only one we can talk about. But how you been, Selena?
I have been extremely busy, actually. Putting itineraries together and things like that. I've got the whole week of, the whole actual month of August packed to the max. I don't have one weekend off. So, Friday night, you got lucky.
Have just so people know, give people a little bio about yourself. If they don't know about you, how could they not? But get out from underneath your rock more often. But for folks that don't know you, who give us a little bio about you.
Well, I started out F.E.A.R. I actually founded F.E.A.R. co-founded with Penny Goodman in 2011. And I've been having paranormal experiences my whole life, from a little kiddo all the way up. And I didn't even know really what was going on with me, but I knew that I had a passion for the paranormal, especially after my mom and then my best friend passed away. It kind of like I had to have more answers. So we formed F.E.A.R, and which means for everything a reason. And it does have another meaning, but we won't go there right now.
No.
It's not after 10.
Yeah. So, we formed that, and we've been really working hard, doing privates. We've done commercial, of course, residentials, and we like to help people. And in turn, I'm hoping at one of these investigations, maybe my friend Kenny will come through and go, "Hey, girl." Or, my mom will say, hey, babe, and I can understand, hear her voice. But until then, I like helping people get answers that they're looking for. And also it helps me learn more about what is on the other side, that it is possible to actually connect with the other side, which, I've always known that. I'm kind of a skeptic on some things, but when it comes to the spirit world, not at all. I'm a complete believer. Now, I don't believe all pictures, all photographs, all things that I see. Don't get me wrong. But I do believe and do know that there is something on the other side. It doesn't end here. So I found out I was an empath January, February-ish of this year. And it kind of was like my aha moment where I kind of was like, oh, God, it all makes sense now. All the things that I had, happen when I was little, and the dreams that I had, when I started teenage years and beyond, and now, all the emotions and all the feelings and the sicknesses and whatevers that I could pick up on any investigation. Not all, but, I didn't understand why that was happening until I was kind of told I was an empath. So
right.
I've been kind of working on those abilities, and I've been speaking about it because I figured all the Paracons and all the conferences that I had ever been to, I had never heard anybody, even speak on it, or maybe it would have hit me like, oh my God, maybe that's what I am. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm not bipolar as I was misdiagnosed. You know, if they can't figure you out, if it's nothing that they understand, then by God, you're just bipolar or you need medication. So, you know, finding out that you're an empath, I've just been studying really hard and trying to learn what all that it entails. Because I've been called a lot of shit in my life, but empath was a first. So,
right. So basically, you don't go to Walmart's anymore.
No, I try not to. And Tina gets real upset sometimes because she understands, though, thank God, that it's just overwhelming for me. And right now, I'm in the process of learning how to shield all that off. But, you know, when you've been doing that, when you've been soaking in all your mom and dad's fighting and turmoil, and my mom had lupus, and so, you know, all of that going on, and I could pick up on when she wasn't feeling good. And, you know, for 45 years, I've been soaking it in like a sponge. So it's kind of hard to learn how to kind of curve that off and kind of go, you know, that's your mess, and, you know, I hope it gets better for you. Instead, I always try and think I can help them or take on their crap. So I'm learning how to stop doing that, and that's really not as easy as it might sound.
No,
so,
it's not, because I found out I was empathic when I was 45.
Yeah, that's a lucky number, is it not, for finding out shit? I mean, I'm just like, really, you know, because, you know, one thing hit me when I first got into the paranormal was that my whole life I've had, like, just jobs, you know, like jobs that you just had to pay the bills, or, you know, there was one or two jobs I may have enjoyed, but it was just, it wasn't what I needed. It wasn't what was fulfilling me. And it was so strange that my mom's death, you know, catapulted me into a depression to where that's all I did was watch ghost shows. And I mean, it just clicked inside of me. Something just was like, oh my God, that's what I got to do, you know? And now it feels like I've been energized, if that makes any sense. After the 7 years of depression of losing her, all of a sudden, it's almost like being around dead people has made me feel more alive. Like I found my calling. I found the passion that was inside of me, and it's just strange that it has to do with spirits, you know.
You know, but you know that one thing too, Selena. You know that birth and death are the two things that everybody's got in common. All the stuff in between, you can go 900 million different kinds of ways, but you're going to get born and you're going to die. And right. I personally don't think it's strange that people get or have a fascination with or are passionate about either the spirit world or however you want to describe it. I think people just want to know where they're going next. They think they've kind of got this whole thing figured out, and they just want to know where you're going next.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I just lost two really close people, you know, that I love very much within 3 days apart to start off July, which July can suck it for that very reason. But, you know, one I lost my friend Melinda to cancer, and then 3 days later I lost my cousin to a rare bone cancer, but it was complications from pneumonia. You know, the thing about having so much loss is that I know, and they know, because we even talked about it, if something were to happen, you know, I can, you know, you can come and speak to me. And it almost is comforting to hear when the preacher at Melinda's celebration of her life.
And folks, will get Selena right back.
Apparently that sentence was not supposed to be said at that moment.
Hello?
Hello.
What happened?
It's a good question. I don't even have my hands near a mouth, so I don't know what happened.
I don't either.
I did.
Click your camera for me real quick.
Okay.
Apparently you weren't supposed to say that sentence.
I guess. It won't do anything.
Wow. Hold on a second, let me call you back.
Alright.
Alright, folks, gotta love Skype. about now?
Okay. Apparently I wasn't supposed to say anything like that.
Apparently not.
Now, where were we?
We were talking about rainbows and unicorns.
No, you were talking about the preacher at I believe your cousin's funeral?
Yeah.
No, her friend's celebration. Melinda.
Yeah. Melinda.
Exactly. Thank you. What he said was, and I didn't read the Bible because one, I can't be still enough to read anything. Stephen LeChant should be actually honored that his book, The Uninvited, was the only book I've ever completed in my entire life from start to finish. So the Bible, I didn't understand the thee and the thy and the thou and all that, so it lost me already from the get-go. But he brought up a good point, and he said that we have this whole thing backwards to where we celebrate the baby coming in, and we're all happy and jovial about the baby being born, but yet we cry and mourn for the person who passed. And we have it backwards. In the Bible it shows or says that we're supposed to celebrate the person who passes because they've passed all the tests here on earth, and they've earned, what I'm saying, we should be celebrating their life and crying for the baby who's just born, because that baby has to endure the heartaches, the pain, the suffering, the loss, all that. So we have it backwards, and it kind of made, when I was trying to shield myself from all of her family and everyone else's emotions and just kind of have my own stuff, it really helped not cry. You know what I mean? It really helped. Plus, Melinda threatened to kick our ass if we cried. So, she was going to haunt us, and then when I saw her again, she was going to kick our asses. So, I worked really hard on shielding at her deal, and it worked pretty well. But when you have 45 years of soaking that shit in, it's hard to block it out. So, I'm a what do you call it? A work in progress, I guess.
I think we all are to a certain degree.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. I mean, you can't be exposed to the paranormal, in my opinion. You can't be exposed to paranormal and not at least think about the spiritual aspects of your life.
Exactly.
If you think it's all scientific and battery operated and everything else, you're going to miss so much.
Wait a minute, my life is not blinky lights?
Your life might be blinky lights.
Okay.
Periscopes and all, girl.
Hey, I have my periscope.
Oh, and by the way, if you need any Paranologies equipment, be sure and get with Selena on Facebook, and she can hook you up.
Yeah, exactly.
You're welcome, Jeremy, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Shameless plug.
Yeah, damn.
But what's the one really? What's the one thing about the paranormal community that shocks you the most?
The one thing that shocks me the most is really, I guess my mother raised me to where my cousins call it rose-colored glasses, to where I thought everyone got along, that everyone was happy with one another, that there was no drama, and there was no being ugly to one another. It's not a competition. And that's what I don't understand about it. I was very shocked to find out that there were teams that are trying to do this and do that and kind of block other teams from doing, locations. And I was just like, why? We're all in it for the same reason. Now, we may have all gotten into it for a different purpose, like, say, to contact my mom or my best friend. Okay, so that may be my reasoning for starting it. But once you get into it, your reasons they obviously will expand, and you'll want to know more and you'll want to do more. But if we keep this, well, they got this over here and they got this over here, and it's so possessive and it's so competitive, and then it gets ugly and people start being ugly with each other, that's what shocks me.
Yeah, like Tennessee, this is my graveyard. Get out.
Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah, we ran across that when we were down there.
And I'm just not understanding all that, because, my mom raised me that, there was no color, you saw no color, you saw no sex, you saw it, people are people. And we're all going after the same exact answers here. And I don't see how it is doing this community any good for us to withhold information, hoping to get TV shows or whatever else. Because I'm telling you right now, because I know from experience, I know from talking to people, I know from working with people that have been on TV, you don't make any money. And sometimes they make you look a little stupid. And, you know, they can do what they want to do. And it's not really worth, you know, going in and doing these things. Some of these producers, I'm not saying on PEN, let me just say, the TV shows, some of these producers make them do things because the evidence may not have been there. And that, you know, that hurts us. That hurts the paranormal community just as much as the fighting and bickering amongst each other. I just, if anything, I wish I could stop all of that.
Well, and just so everybody knows, from now on out, when you see me on video at an investigation, I'm going to be sure and go get me some. I normally wear a 3X shirt. I'm going to go ahead and start wearing just a 1X shirt. That way I can wear a tight T-shirt too.
Nobody needs to see all that.
Just so everybody knows when you see it. Because people we know for a fact, just from our years of doing this show and having the network, people don't think. That's why the TV shows are so popular, because people don't have to think any more than that, and most, I hate to say this, most won't.
Well, and the TV shows have made everything demonic.
Yeah.
Someone posted a video the other day from Sodomville up in Ohio.
Right.
And there was this little shadow that popped out from what appeared to be a bed. The video wasn't real great. Well, there's one of the many demonic spirits. Now, how is that demonic? It didn't say anything. It didn't do anything. Nothing flew. Nobody got hurt. It was a shadow. But now everything is demonic.
Yeah, that's a problem for me. Because let me just say that I've been doing this, not as long as you guys, of course, not as long as a lot of people that I know, but I have never, and I knock on wood, I've only had one location that I actually got a headache, like someone hit me in the head, and I got nauseous at the same time and had to actually leave the house. That was just a pissed off spirit, not demonic. To this day, I have not had to call in backup because, for one, F.E.A.R, my team is extremely big on no drama. Two, we are extremely big on, if we can't handle something that's going on in a home, we don't act like we can and we don't say we can.
Right.
We have people that if it's something crazy, like maybe someone, which we have not had yet, that is possibly possessed or possibly has anything going on even near demonic or even near evil looking, I'm not going to think I can just expel all this myself. I'm not capable. I'm not equipped to do that. I'm not trained in that, and I'm not wanting anything to stick on to me that I can't get off. You know what I mean? So I will call people in. That's how we roll. I don't mess with anything demonic, and I have yet to see anything demonic.
That's how we do it too. We've never, knock on wood, ever run across anything demonic. The meanest thing we've run across was Jimmy at the hospital at OSPH, and I got the sensation of being stabbed in the stomach. Once I left the area, it took a little bit to calm it down, but then it was gone. But it wasn't demonic. It was, he's just a jerk.
Well, either that or you were feeling what happened to him.
Well,
no, Jimmy's a great. This has been confirmed. Jimmy was a greaser. He was basically the bigoted 1950s men are better than women.
Womanizing.
Right.
Most of the women who went down there were groped.
Okay.
But I just apparently was not one of his favorites.
And we never found out if he was. More than likely, Kim probably looked like somebody, a sister, his mother. More than likely, and that's
a girlfriend
why she.
That dumped him.
That's
knows?
why she got the reaction that he did.
Wow.
But that hospital was supposedly had something sealed and bound in it, and blah 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 blah. We went down in there. I've crawled around in every dirty inch of that hospital. The deepest, darkest holes it has. There's nothing demonic in there.
No, but we have a list of people if we get into something like that. We know people we can call in. It's not our business. I've had people go, well, you need to come and do a blessing and cleansing on my house. No, I can give you a list of people who can.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's
That's
not
the
what
problem.
I'm comfortable with.
Well, and people.
That's another problem in paranormal with some of these, teams that, no, we're not professionals. No, we are not completely trained. None of us are experts. We all are in the learning process. Everyone learns from each other person they run into. The thing is with some of these teams now, if they're not getting recognition for just being a team, they'll put stuff in their titles like intuitives, or we can do house cleansings, when they have no business or no training whatsoever to do any of these things.
Or demonologist.
Or the Nimrod, or the Nimrods up in Oklahoma that throw glitter there because glitter confuses the spirits.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
If I swear if I came in my house after letting somebody in to do this, and I had to vacuum up glitter for the next decade, I would kick their ass.
Yeah, I don't like glitter around me too much. Glitter got me in a lot of trouble a couple years back, so I try not to get glitter on me too much.
But it's ridiculous. I mean, they're tagging themselves with all these weird little... Well, it makes me sound more important, so I must be able to do it. And you know what? Now, if you ran across the real demon, they would throw you out the door and you'd be looking all kinds of stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, not only that, but you'd have to go clean the shit out of your pants, too.
Right?
Because you don't... that's one thing I've learned, too, when I first started, and being, held up in your garage, depressed, watching all these shows, you learn different things from different shows. I tried the yelling at the, come out here and talk to me kind of thing, and I really wasn't comfortable with that. I started having this issue, like, am I disrespecting, like, my relatives, like their relatives? Like, it could be my great-granny, so I kind of calmed that down, and I kind of went with what Chip Coffey calls is the more good cop type thing. Sugar, he said, gets a lot more... attention than being a sourpuss and screaming at them. So, I've kind of calmed it down, but now I've changed up a little bit more. I mean, the paranormal investigations, every single one I've been on, the same. It's like these spirits have to get so sick and tired of hearing the same damn questions.
Right.
From every team, like, what is your name? How old were you when you died?
Who's the
president?
What
year is it?
Who's the president?
How did you die? All this same shit. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of asking them that, because it's nice to actually know who you're communicating with. So a name is not bad to have, okay? But there's really nothing I can do about Billy Bob, who got shot in 1913, and all this other stuff. What I want to know is, and the reason why I'm into this, what the hell does it look like where you're at? Do I get to see my relatives when I die? Or is that just BS? Are there actual golden or, walkways and pearly gates? I mean, or is that just another, thing we've been told?
Man created.
Fantasy. I just want to know for a fact what they see. What does a spirit actually look like? Do you lose your male, female gender, or are you completely healthy again like we hear? I want to know those things.
I'm gonna give you my opinion on that. I don't think you do, because when you go and you collect this data, and I know you've got EVPs that'll back this up too, Selena. You can tell when you're dealing with a female spirit or a male spirit. I mean, you get a mad woman, that's an entirely different. That's almost demonic. That's real close to demonic. But
maybe she was PMSing. You don't know.
Hey, yeah.
Suck your butts.
But you know what? That's what I'm saying. But you can tell the difference between a male and a woman's spirit. I don't think you lose that vibration. I don't know. I agree with you. I want to know what's coming next. I also think that's why we've had success in the past when you talk about the two main drives you have while you're here, which is sex and food. When you ask questions that are like that, and I don't mean about the act. I always have to clarify that. I don't mean about the act. I'm just saying, but like, hey, if you know you're talking to a male spirit, do you like redheads? You know, I've heard Kim ask a question before, do you like hard-bodied men, or do you like a six-pack, or, I mean, stuff like that. Preferences, I guess, is a better word. You do get responses. When you talk about food, especially Sunday dinner, if you're in an 1800s type house, or early 1900s type house, you start talking about a Sunday dinner, you know, pot roast, or fried chicken, or anything, you know, a big Italian meals if you're in that type of neighborhood. You get responses because that's such a strong urge. Or
I've also found, you know, era cues such as music from that time period. We've tried different like eras in a couple of places because there had been like there had been maybe Civil War, and then there was something else, and then there was a nursing home in the 60s. So what we do is we went to Calvert last weekend, which was amazing. And I'm just saying that this town is really crazy. We get a lot of EVPs with men. There was a lot of murders there and everything like that. When you're getting these EVPs and you're dealing with men or women, you're definitely knowing exactly who you're dealing with, because you can tell. Say, for instance, the ghost box. If you're using the ghost box, you can definitely tell a female's voice from a male's voice. Right. Which is also good. EVPs, you know, they're harder to get, but just like the one I caught at Miss Hattie's, it was a male voice. Without a doubt, a male voice. But still, you know, you want to know still about them, but you want to know about what's going on where they're at as well. I kind of want to know how a 1930s spirit is still hanging around in 2014. You know, how that happens, how that works. Just questions that I haven't heard a whole lot of people doing. Well, but the era cues work really, really well as far as the music portion of it.
You were talking about era cues. My partner in crime, Mary Gasparo.
Right.
In 2 weeks, up at the Shanley, where the Irish Mafia came in, and, you know, the bordello and all this kind of stuff, she's actually throwing an old-fashioned Irish wake for all of them.
Oh. Wow. Yeah. So that helps.
Something different. What was it, last year or the year before, that they had like a party to where all the women dressed up like they were working in the bordello, and all the guys were coming in as gangsters, and they got a lot of good stuff. So now they're going to try an Irish wake.
Yeah, we did that when we were filming up there at Galena's Murder Bordello. When we were filming Shadows on 66, we actually had reenactments as a portion of the documentary, and they had all the girls dressed up as working girls because, of course, it's a bordello. They had guys that looked like miners and the Staffelback Boys, and then we had the best reenactment actress named Janelle Robinson that played Nancy Staffelback. Now, Chip had went into the house before the reenactments were the last day of the filming, and Chip had already done his walkthrough when he got there and everything like that, and he had already seen the actual the spirit of Nancy Staffelback in the home. When he walked in to meet Janelle, he said, "F me running," was his first words to her, and she said, "Well, it's nice to meet you too, Mr. Coffee." And the reason being is because Janelle looks similar to Nancy Staffelback, the actual Nancy Staffelback. And speaking of era cues, when we were there the last time, when I took the last group up to Missouri, Helen and all them from Louisiana, and my F.E.A.R girls, and Minda and them also, we had like para-unity at its best, actually. When we took them up there, we were getting things happening during the day, and I took Janelle as an actual trigger object, a live trigger object. Because weird thing about it is her and Nancy Staffelback have kind of a weird bond to where she kind of understood Nancy, and that Nancy was a very smart businesswoman. And so Nancy and Janelle kind of one and the same, and so she's going to be our trigger object next weekend when I take this other group up there. Nice. And we're going to actually do a nighttime investigation this time. So I think, and the bordello is set up exactly. It's got the pretty pink and the pink bathtub, and it looks like a bordello inside. There's actually a poker table set up, and there's a dummy poker guy over there and a dummy miner that's set up. So it ought to be great because there's a lot of trigger objects, and we'll be using air cues as well with music. So I think it should be an amazing investigation next weekend.
Air cues works. I mean, we've had some craziness up at the Shanley. And their bordello, I mean, it's all the antique furniture, it's the bedspreads, and the way it's set up, there's actually three bedrooms and then like a main room. And they found a hallway that goes between all the three bedrooms that goes along the back wall, so nobody sees them going back and forth.
Wow.
Well, and another thing too, we need to send a, well, let me say this before I forget. Tim Yancey, get better, brother. We all
absolutely
need to. I believe I forgot to say it at the beginning, but
everybody send prayers out to Tim. He's out of ICU though. Yeah, that's a great thing.
Second thing, I want to send a thank you out to Michael Esposito, because Michael Esposito is a very good friend of ours, and he has sent not only to us but to other people that have gone to OSPH. He actually went back to the equipment manufacturers of the 70s and 80s. 60s, 70s, and 80s that actually manufactured the hospital equipment that was used in there, and actually got their original sounds from their equipment and made a compilation CD and sent it down to OSPH at one point in time. And it's been used a bunch of times down there, and every time that CD is ever played over the PA when it was working, something happened somewhere.
I've been there 7 times, and the night we played that is the only night I got to see the Shadow Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, it works, folks, and you shouldn't be afraid to try it. See, that's something else. People are very much monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
So they see it on TV and they think that's all they should do. They need to start thinking. First of all, don't think outside the box, because there is no damn box. Just think. Try things. Just try things. You know. Don't
different stuff.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try it. You know.
Just be careful when you're trying stuff, not to be too assertive and too I guess bossy britches, because sometimes you might get something back you really didn't want. So always be respectful. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're supposedly good or bad. Just try being respectful first. Because I've seen a lot of people get their butt in a lot of trouble. They said in Calvert, actually, when I was there last weekend, they said that the last time that they had people come out and investigate, this one kid, he was like 18, thought he could provoke this spirit that's been known to push people down the stairs and scratch people and things like that. I mean, this town was no joke back in the day. And he was warned not to provoke. He said, they said, do not provoke. Well, guess what? Dummy provoked, and Dummy got, he was what they would call catatonic, and scared to death, and hasn't returned since. You got to protect yourself with faith, too. Just like when I was in New Orleans, and we were doing the Andrew Jackson Hotel, we met Bloody Mary, the voodoo priestesses. The whole dang time that I was standing there listening to her, I'm in my head praying to my God to put that protective bubble around me. And, because you never know what you're going to get in New Orleans. There's like so many more dead than there are living. I just constantly was praying the whole time I was there, but and it's a good thing because I got 3 times I could have been dead that weekend, so missed it by moments. So there was something watching over me. So obviously prayer does work.
Yeah, Eric was supposed to be down there the morning of Katrina.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, when I worked in the liquor industry, I was supposed to go down there
That morning.
I was supposed to fly in there the morning that Katrina hit. And I called my boss and I said, hey, man, there's a hurricane hitting down there. Are we still flying down there? I was told, like, not no, but hell no. Next time I got sent down there, and
Gustav.
I actually had to go through a day of Gustav when it blew through. So I'm not allowed to go to New Orleans anymore. Every time I go to New Orleans, there's a hurricane.
No.
That's something else I think people need to understand, too, is you don't... One thing that Kate mentioned in the chat room, that sometimes the most casual of acts will produce a response. And that's so very true. But
Yep.
that's also why you kind of have to, and you've said this on your show, and I know we've said it several times, you have to be respectful. You have to keep your P's and Q's in order. That you're going to get more that way as opposed to kicking the door in, trying to throw things. I mean, yeah, it just makes no sense. It makes great TV.
Well, and quite frankly, the silliest things can start all kinds of stuff. One of the guys, and I won't mention your name, Mike, up at the Shanley, was laying in the main room of the bordello on the day bed and passed gas. And you can hear, I didn't say his last name, you can hear the little girl Rosie giggle. As soon as it happened, she just started giggling. It was the cutest thing. But it wasn't, any questions. They chime in all the time up there just when we're sitting there talking. We can be talking about anything and they just...
And to show that things have changed over time, I know we've recorded EVPs with Kim when she's been in the bathroom at OSPH.
Yeah. I don't ever turn off my recorder, and yeah, I should probably do that, but...
But when you're sitting there listening to it, it's ha ha funny, and it's like, what? And there's another, I'm like, who were you talking to? There wasn't nobody in there with me.
Yeah, they like to piggyback on stuff. When we were, this kind of really, being an empath, this kind of really bothered me. But we went to a cemetery in Calvert that evening, and we went to this one kid's, and he was actually 25 years old when he passed. I believe it to be from a car accident. But I kind of wanted to get y'all's opinion on what you might think about this. But I felt, for one, I knew the mother had put 3 blankets on top of him, on top of his gravesite. And I knew what that meant to keep her baby warm. Okay? I got that. The thing that I was kind of moved by was that right underneath his headstone, there was a baggie full of his hair, like from his scalp. And then underneath there was like stones underneath there. Now, excuse me, to me, that sounded like a very sad mother that can't let go, but the hair and things reminded me almost of a voodoo type. It had a Nola feel to it. You know what I mean? But speaking of doing silly things, I don't have rhythm from waist down for anything. And, this kid was an African-American kid, 25 years old, and we played Tupac, trying to do get any type of reaction. So I just was kidding around, and I started acting like I was like trying to rap and do all this, and then I started trying to twerk, which was not a twerk, it was more like a spaz. But anyway, the REM pod on his grave started going crazy when I did that. So, needless to say, everybody's been jacking with me about him. I got to twerk some more on the next investigation because it riled up. His nickname was Doodah. So, it was a pretty moving evening. We had a lot of things happen. We had a car completely disappear in front of our eyes, and there was 8 witnesses to it. Still can't explain that at all.
We've had that happen at the shop.
Oh my God. I mean, he pulled up behind our cars. We were at this one mausoleum, big, huge deal, back in the woods. And our cars were all over by the fence. You could see them all over there. Next thing I know, I see headlights, and I'm like, hey, man, there's a car parked behind all of our cars, and all my equipment's in there. I really don't feel like getting robbed tonight, you know? And I said, it might be the cops just checking out what the hell's going on. So 4 of them went walking up with flashlights, and they got about halfway up there, and the next thing you know, they come walking back, and I'm like, they didn't even get up there. And they're all mumbling amongst themselves and everything, and they're like, the car just disappeared. It was there with the interior light on and the parking lights, and then it was gone.
Yep. And
I'm like, oh, holy shit. So it got crazier all night long. All I can say is Calvert is an uncharted investigative territory that is fun to do. Aunt Jemima's buried out there.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of other people, I can't remember, but man, we had a great time out there, and that was after Miss Hattie's the night before. So my whole entire August is nothing but investigations.
Yeah, we had the car thing happen at the shop. Eric, Josh, and I were at the shop doing sort of an investigation, and Martha was going to join us out there. Well, we're sitting there, and I see the lights, the car pull into the parking lot, lights on, and I'm like, well, that must be Martha, and it went over to the right side, so I walked out the door, and there was no car. If you go out, if you drive to the right side of the building, you drive into a creek, which is, what, a 12, 14-foot drop? But there was no car. But we watched it pull in. We watched it pull over to the right.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
that's insane.
But people shouldn't be surprised that spirit can do that. I mean, if you think they have the ability to hear you through an interdimensional doorway or whatever, and can react to what you're saying, or you believe that they're sitting next to you,
why can't they?
Why couldn't they? Why couldn't they make you think you see a car and make it disappear? Why?
The thought on this is the shop I own now, the last owner finally took his first vacation in 5 years, went to Memphis, and died of a heart attack. Exactly 1 year to the day, his only male employee died in the shop.
Wow.
You've got 2 guys who loved being in that building. Why wouldn't they drive by or pull up to check things out?
It's a weird thing that this happened too, because, you know, whenever I had the dream, my first real changing dream about my dad's friend, when that happened and I kind of shut down, you know, my abilities or whatever, I had a dream after I lost my good friend Amy right after graduation. I finally had a dream that she drove up in her car, her and my other friend Chad that actually passed away in our sophomore year. They drove up together. Me and my best friend Jen were sitting there, and I go, oh my God, that looks like Amy's car. They got out. They both came over. Amy hugged us both, said we're fine and we have to go. And I'm like begging her not to go. And so she pulled up in her car. I used to think I saw her car a lot after she passed away, but I've never seen an actual car, complete car, be there 1 second and it not the next, and it be 8 people to witness it. You know what I'm saying? It just was, it was beyond comprehension. And I mean, I've seen apportation, and I've witnessed that at Dr. Pepper Museum. I had a penny thrown at me and a dime, and then a screw fell out of the sky from I don't know where. I really tried to put the message together. Like, I couldn't figure out what the dime was, but I'm like, is it screw penny?
Well, isn't it part of 1024?
I don't know.
If it was a penny, a nickel, and a dime, it would be 1024, because that's the way it would add up.
Yeah, but it was first it was a dime, and then it was a screw, and then the last thing was a penny. And so I couldn't figure out what the dime meant, but we were joking because it was me and Penny and our junior investigator, Maddie. And I said, I don't know, but it looks like they're trying to say screw Penny. I'm not sure what you did to piss them off, but
wait a minute, who's on the dime?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
See if I got a dime in there. Hold on, folks. We're gonna see if I have money.
This guy. Is that Johnson?
No, that's
We don't know our presidents.
I think that's
Bless you.
Eisenhower. No, that's Roosevelt. Roosevelt is on the dime. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR. So FDR screwed Penny.
It could be.
Or 10 times.
Yeah. Penny got screwed 10 times. I'm not sure.
But yeah,
Or
we've had tons of people in the shop who've been just sitting there chatting and have heard the cars pull up, have heard the gravel, have heard the doors open, have heard the doors shut, have heard the engines, the whole 9 yards, and there's nobody in the parking lot.
And we've even heard it inside when somebody's been outside.
Yeah.
And the person outside never heard anything, never heard the pulling in of the gravel, never heard any of the sounds. So, I mean, it's hard to explain.
One of the girls actually saw someone getting in her car. Her door opened and shut, so she goes running out thinking someone's trying to jack her car, and there was no one in it.
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans, when I was there, I think that was the first time I'd actually felt a spirit sit next to me, and it was a little boy. We all got kind of down on his level and sat Indian style. There's probably 5 grown women, and then Hart Fortenberry from Deep South Paranormal. And I swear to you, I had a periscope sitting between me and Connie, and when that child sat down, my whole entire right side of my body got so flipping cold, and that periscope went off, and I just was like, oh my God. He's sitting next to me. But, you know, New Orleans is, like I said, full of spirits, and I think what helped that little child come out was there was an older lady with us. She was amazing. She was speaking French to him. And I know nothing about French. I mean, not a damn thing. So she was just fluently speaking French to it and to the spirit, and we were getting all types of interaction with him. And I think he pretty much followed me the whole entire night. The thing that I'm excited about is going down there with Dakota to the Gemini August 30th. And after Dakota's galleries that he's doing, I'm going to be helping with the investigation of the Gemini. Now, the Gemini, sorry about that. The Gemini was an old gay bar back in the 70s. It was real hush-hush back then. It's not like it is now. But it was real hush-hush back then. And so it was also a gay church at one point. And a patron got kicked out for acting an ass. And so he came back. There was only one way in and one way out of that place, which is a stairwell. The windows have bars on them. Sorry, I've been sick for like a week. So forgive me. The bars are all over the windows up top. The patron set the fire, and of course no one could escape. So 32 men lost their lives there 41 years ago, actually. It was in 1973. And there's a plaque outside there to commemorate those men. However, no one has ever... NOLA Ghost Hunting Tours actually does investigations, not an actual ghost tour. It's an actual investigation. And they do it of the Gemini, you know, every weekend. And I've asked Chris, I go, I need to know, have you ever gotten any of the victims on your EVPs? Funny thing about that is he's never gotten any of the victims of the fire on his EVPs. It's been children that died before that, of yellow fever, of scarlet fever. I mean, like way back in the day. So I think with Dakota going there, he's going to do a little bit of a walkthrough before he does his galleries and kind of let us know if there is any of those spirits still wandering. But because Dakota's gay and because I'm gay, maybe we can trigger, we can be the trigger objects. And maybe try to get those spirits to speak with us.
You may irritate them, though, because you're still a woman.
Yeah, exactly. But, I'm kind of on their understanding level.
Right.
I'm definitely not going to be like a straight woman walking in there. They're kind of going to feel a kindredship with me and Dakota, I believe. And that's what we're going to try for. So when you get your ticket for Dakota or whatever, you not only get Dakota's gallery, which is like going to be 15 people a gallery, which is the smallest he's ever done. It's going to be, you also get a spot on the investigation later that night with us. And so, we can see what we get. They've gotten some very good EVPs and activity, and lots of personal experiences have come out of the Gemini. So I'm extremely excited about that. And again, I'm always ready to go to New Orleans. So after that one time, I'm hooked.
The hand grenades. Woo-woo.
Hey, I gotta stay away from them hand grenades, man. That's where them people got shot the night when we
They're dangerous.
Thank God we were in Metairie,
Well, and I put up the graphic for Dakota. You've also got another little event happening in Mississippi. Would you like to let the folks know about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, I'm going to be Paranology's and Ghost Hunter Store vendor table there, and I'm going to probably be going with the guys from Deep South Paranormal, which is Kevin Betzer, Randy Hardy, and then Chris Melanson from NOLA Ghost Hunting Tours and Paranormal Society of New Orleans. They're actually all going to be speaking. I'm taking the time out from the speaking on this one and just doing the vendor table, but that's October 3rd through the 5th in Vicksburg, Mississippi. It's called the Mississippi Parafest, and that should be a whole lot of fun. And before that week actually, I'm trying to do some crazy stuff. I'm trying to go to Phantom Fest in San Antonio, come home, jump on a plane, go to Seattle for Chip Coffee's Coffee Talk on October 1st, and then come home, jump in a car, and then drive to Vicksburg. So let's see if Wonder Woman can do all that.
You just need an invisible jet.
I do. I mean, if I could get my friend Mike to fly me around everywhere, no problem.
Well, if you find those superpowers, September 27th and 28th at the shop, we're having a para-physical flea market.
And that's August?
September.
Oh, September. I'm going to be in San Antonio.
Like I said, if you get your superpowers.
Okay.
Just teleport up there. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I would love that, man.
Just astral project up there and sell some of Jeremy's stuff and then go back.
Well, some of our Rita and Martha and Terry Jones have all agreed, and they're all going to be there doing a author's corner.
Yeah.
Because in this small town, I'm sure they've never met like 3 authors and been able to sit and talk with them.
And 2 of those authors are former cops. In fact, Martha's got a book out now that I would suggest anybody that is doing a group that wants to focus on helping people, you need to go get it. It's Paranormal Profiling.
Yep.
And it will. Martha was not only a process server when she left the police department, she was a detective when she was on the police department. So if anybody in the paranormal knows how to interview somebody and trip them up, so go get that book. It's got a lot of valuable tips in there for people. But Selena, I got to thank you for coming on. That hour just flew by. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for having me.
Once again, folks, go to FEARparanormal.wix.com/FEAR-1, right?
Yep.
And you can get, that's FEAR's website. You can get a hold of Selena there. Just type in Selena Roane on Facebook. You're going to find her. Or type in Close to Death and take it to her show page.
Or just go to anybody else's Facebook, because she's on there too somewhere.
She's everywhere.
Hey man, I'm trying, and you know, Till Gray's going to be on my show Sunday, so y'all tune in for that. It should be cool. And then I've got a surprise guest coming August 31st, when I'm actually not going to be having a show. I'll be in New Orleans, but it'll be a very awesome guest, and he's never been on before. So
I know who it is.
I know. I can't
Well, that's
wait.
only because I know who it is, because I got to, you know, anyway. Gotta love the behind-the-scenes stuff, folks.
That's right.
Selena, thanks for joining us. Everybody, if you're going to go out this weekend, be safe, stay hydrated, because it's hot as hell out there.
Yep. Peace out.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Well, great people to be involved with.
And while you're there, pick up a copy of Alien Legacy,
Legacy.
autographed by Geraldine Sutton-Stein.
Yep. But with that being said, our special guest tonight is Miss Selena Roane. She is not only a host here on Prayer Encounters Network on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. with Close to Death. She is also the co-founder of F.E.A.R, that has two meanings, but only one we can talk about. But how you been, Selena?
I have been extremely busy, actually. Putting itineraries together and things like that. I've got the whole week of, the whole actual month of August packed to the max. I don't have one weekend off. So, Friday night, you got lucky.
Have just so people know, give people a little bio about yourself. If they don't know about you, I mean, how could they not? But get out from underneath your rock more often. But for folks that don't know you, who give us a little bio about you.
Well, I started out F.E.A.R. I actually founded F.E.A.R, co-founded with Penny Goodman in 2011, and I've been having paranormal experiences my whole life, from a little kiddo all the way up, and I didn't even know really what was going on with me, but I I found out I was an empath January, February-ish of this year, and it kind of was like my aha moment where I kind of was like, oh, God, it all makes sense now. All the things that I had, happen when I was little, and the dreams that I had, when I started teenage years and beyond, and now, all the emotions and all the feelings and the sicknesses and whatevers that I could pick up on any investigation. Not all, but, I didn't understand why that was happening until I was kind of told I was an empath. So right. I've been kind of working on those abilities, and I've been speaking about it because I figured all the Paracons and all the conferences that I had ever been to, I had never heard anybody, even speak on it, or maybe it would have hit me like, oh my God, maybe that's what I am. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm not bipolar as I was misdiagnosed. If they can't figure you out, if it's nothing that they understand, then by God, you're just bipolar or you need medication. So, finding out that you're an empath, I've just been studying really hard and trying to learn what all that it entails. because I've been called a lot of shit in my life, but empath was a first. So,
right. So basically,
you know,
basically, you don't go to Walmart's anymore.
I knew that I had a passion for the paranormal, especially after my mom and then my best friend passed away. It kind of like I had to have more answers. So we formed F.E.A.R, and which means for everything a reason. And it does have another meaning, but we won't go there right now.
No.
It's not after 10.
Yeah. So, you know, we formed that, and we've been really working hard, doing privates. We've done commercial, of course, residentials, and we like to help people. And in turn, I'm hoping at one of these investigations, maybe my friend Kenny will come through and go, "Hey, girl," or, you know, my mom will say, hey, babe, you know, and I can understand, you know, hear her voice. But until then, I like helping people get answers that they're looking for. And also it helps me learn more about what is on the other side, that it is possible to actually connect with the other side, which, you know, I've always known that. I'm kind of a skeptic on some things, but when it comes to the spirit world, not at all. I'm a complete believer. Now, I don't believe all pictures, all photographs, all things that I see. Don't get me wrong. But I do believe and do know that there is something on the other side. It doesn't end here. So,
yeah, it's been a long week. For those of you that didn't know, I am no longer the hardest working unemployed man you know. I am actually an electrician now, or learning to be an electrician.
An electrician apprentice.
Yes, actually. So, been a little busy around here.
Yeah.
And it's been a little hot.
It was 94 on the way home tonight.
And as always, please remember to go to Facebook and check out Metaluna Boutique and Stones.
It is a tax-free weekend.
Tax-free
I do
weekend here in
have
Texas.
tax-free items.
Sure do.
Not all of them, but I do have some tax-free items.
And next weekend, if you happen to be in the middle of the country, to the left, slightly to the left, be sure and go and find Kim and PEN at the Kelly Little Green Men. I'm going to have Marty Brown there on August the 16th, which is a Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, no? Yes, it is Saturday.
Saturday. He's the main act.
Me and Cynthia.
Yeah, and hopefully me. We'll find out.
Hopefully Eric.
Hopefully me.
And maybe Ruth. You don't know.
But just stop by and say hello to us. It's a great festival. Frank and the gang down there, Joanne, and
Jesse
and the whole gang down there. They're great people.